Hello everyone, welcome back once again. And today's topic is today we will see how to develop a palindrome program using the list and string slicing. Okay, now there is already a lot of programs available, and there is a traditional way by which we can develop a palindrome program. And in my previous tutorial also we have developed the palindrome program using the same logic. Okay, that's all over the internet, but we'll be using it, we'll be doing the same program using the string slicing, so it's a bit very interesting. And also we will go through some of the list method functions like the extend, insert, remove, clear, count and reverse. So one by one we will see to it. So immediately we will get started. Okay, the palindrome program, as I have told in my previous tutorial, a palindrome string is basically a word that is, if you read it from the left side or from the right side, it comes down the same. So this is M-A-D-A-M and M-A-D-A-M, right? And the word like Nitin, which is a name of an individual, so N-I-T-I-N, N-I-T-I-N. So it's, you read it from the left hand side or from the right hand side, it comes the same. So already we have developed the palindrome program using a for loop and using the same logic that normally it's everybody does with the same logic. But now today what we are going to do is we are going to develop a palindrome program using the list slicing or string slicing, any one of them. We can do it with both of them. So first we will just use it with the list. So what I will do, I will accept input from the user, right? So enter a string, okay? And while I accept the input, I will convert that into a list. So I'm using a list function. So whatever string I accept from the user, so over here you understand that S is a list, or I just make it as L. Okay, so L is a list over here since I'm using the list function. Now the list function is like, if you give a string, I have told in my last tutorial that if I use something like L is equal to list, and if I give the string like hello, so this will create a list which will have every character as separate, that is H, then E, then we will have L, right, and again one more L, and then O. So every character we will have a separate item in the list. So this is what we will get with this list function. So I'm accepting the string from the user and I'm using this list function. So whatever string that I give as input, every character will be an individual item in the list. Okay, now what I have to do is, in my last tutorial I told you how to use the list slicing, which is the same principle followed for the applied on the string slicing also. Most interesting thing is for using a string slicing to check whether a string is palindrome or not, we don't need to use any for loop. Simple as that, we have to use just a if statement. So what if I use if and L, so I will start from like I will just keep the starting and end as blank. Okay, so my start is, it will start from the beginning of the character, it will go to the end of the character. Now this already I have taken in my previous tutorial, so if you are not aware of all this, you can just switch over to my previous tutorial and you can just clear this, how this works, and then come back to this tutorial so that you can understand how this is working. And then I will give okay, so this will go from start to beginning. Even if I place 1 over here, it will it takes a jump of 1, so it is by default. Okay, or else I can keep this as 1, so it takes from beginning till the end with a jump of 1. So if every character, so this is, it will go from start till the beginning, and then I have to simply say if it is equal to, and just give a colon and -1, isn't it? So what happens is, for example, if L is something like maybe, okay, there is M, okay, and there is A, and then there is D, then there is A. If I given this word like string is madam, okay, so this is the string, So what happens is it starts from the, if I'm keeping it as empty, so it starts from beginning, it goes till the end. And with a skipping of 1 means it will go, by default it is 1, so MADAM. So this will indirectly generate list as what it is. And then this, it again goes from beginning till end, from beginning, but once I give -1, so it gives the indication to Python that actually I'm trying to go in a reverse way. So it starts from the last and it goes till the first. So again this will generate one more list which will have every character from last. First it will take MADAM. So this will also generate a list in a reverse order. And if you see, if the word is madam, so even if we have from beginning till end or from end till beginning, the list will be the same, right? So over here what we are actually doing is we are comparing two strings. So if two strings have the same number of items and the same values, so this will actually generate true, because the two lists are identical lists. They have same number of items and the same number of characters. So if I just give this and print, I have to do the string is palindrome, isn't it? The string is palindrome. Okay, and else what will we print? Else we will print is the string is not palindrome. Okay, so simple, isn't it? Now this is the power of Python. Okay, we will just run this program and we will see whether this actually works or not. Okay, so test.py, and let us run this program. Okay, I've given, okay, I need to delete this first. Okay, just a minute. Okay, this is a syntax error. Okay, I've just forgot to give L over here, and I will remove this thing, and now I will run this program. So let us give a word that is NITI, anything. The string is palindrome, so simple. Then let us give a word like, okay, let us give another word that is something like this, smashed, with something garbage. Okay, so the string is not palindrome, so it is working perfectly fine. Let us try with few other input. Okay, A, B, C, D, and then C, okay, B, A. So this is also a palindrome string, right? A, B, C, D, C, B, A, right? So this program is absolutely working perfectly, and you can see how we have used the list slicing, and we have used that feature, and we are able to check whether a string is palindrome or not. Also what we can do is we can use a string. I can remove this and I will make this as S, just a convention that I'm using, proper convention. S, so S is a string basically, and if you see, the same principle applies for string slicing also. So with this also we can have the same output, right? So this also works perfect. So you can see how easily we can achieve things with Python. And now if you see this feature, we don't have this feature in most of the programming languages, and that is where Python has an upper hand. For achieving a particular goal, you don't have to really struggle a lot, or you don't have to do much of a coding. We can achieve that with a very less coding, and we can achieve our goal. The main purpose is to achieve your goal, so that you can achieve it with Python with a very less coding. Okay, so this is how to work with string slicing and list slicing, and we have checked whether a string is palindrome or not. Now let us move forward for the next thing, that is we will also see some of the methods like extend, insert, remove, clear, count, and reverse. So in my last tutorial we have learned that how to use the append and the pop function. So if you are not aware of append and pop function, go to my previous tutorial, you can see, and then come back over here. Okay, so append is basically used to add an item into the list. So append basically adds the item, but it will always add the item at the end of the list. Suppose there are 5 items, so the 6th item, if you're trying to add, it will be, if there are 5 items, that will be the 6th item at the 6th position. Okay, so every item gets added at the end of the list. uh, similarly we have a Similarly, we have an extend method. Suppose there is a list, okay, these are the numbers, and I have an extend. Now, extend is like, it takes extend function, okay, by which we can add multiple items to the list, okay, and it always takes argument as a list itself. For example, if I say this is a list over here in front of you, and I use l dot extend, and I will pass the list, okay, and there are items 1 2 3. Okay, so we will see what happens with this, and we will just print. And so what will happen is 1 2 3 will actually get added to the list. So if you want to add multiple items, so in that case you will be using the extend function, and we need to pass the items in form of a list. Okay, so all these items will get added at the end of the list. With the append method also we can add items, but we can only add one item at one time. Okay, so if I have multiple numbers to add to the list, I cannot do that with append method. So in that case I have to use the extend method. So if I run this, you can see the output now. Okay, so here is the output. This was the previous list that we had, and then we added 1 2 3 at the end of the list. So this is the list that got, we have added at the end of the list, and that's the list L. Okay, so what is the basic difference between append and extend is append can take multiple items in form of a list, and you can add multiple items at the end of the list. But what if I use as append over here, and I give as a, append can take only one item, and what if I say that my one item is a list itself? So since list is a data type, right, just like if I say number, so this is a number, and number is a data type, so even list is a data type. So what if I try to add this data type, this one item? So what will happen in this case? This will become a nested list. So this list will be as this. See, there are 1 2 3 4. There are 4 items. So this list itself will be added as the 5th item. You can see over here. So you can see the difference over here. Okay, you can see the difference. Now this was using the extend, and this is what we got using the append. So once I use the append, so this is like, it is considering this whole list as one item, so it got added to the end of the list. So this is something we call it as a nested list. So there is a list, and inside that we have one more item that is a list. You can see, so you can see the difference between the two. So this is how the append and extend works. Okay, now let us move on to the function that is insert. Now what if I don't want to add the items at the end of the list? I want to add somewhere in the middle. In that case I'll be using the insert method. So for this we need to pass 2 arguments. Okay, there are 2 arguments that we need to pass. First is the position. For example, if I say 2 and I say 55, this means this is the position index value. So at position 2 I want 55, so this is 0 1 2. So over here we will have 55, and this 56 will go will move further. Okay, so if you see the output for this, okay, here it is. So 0 1 2, so at position 2 we added 55, and then 56 became the 4th position, and then 78. Okay, so if I give this as maybe 1, so at position 34, that is 0 and 1, we will have 55. Now just see the output. So this is the position, that is the index value, and this is the item that we need to add. What if I give an item as a list? So let us let us see with this what happens with this. Okay, so what happens, even an insert function will actually only take one item. So this is one item over here, that is a list itself, and that will be added to that position. You can see that number one position we have added a list. So again this becomes a nested list, and then 34, 56 and 78, right, it's in front of you. Okay, so this is how insert function works. Okay, and if any point at any index, if you want to add a item, you can do that using an insert function. And what if we have to remove an item? Now to remove an item, we have learned the pop function, but pop function is like it takes the index value. But what if I'm not concerned with the index value, I have to every time just see what's the index value for a particular item to remove it. What if I just want that item to be removed, if the item that I specify? So in that case, you will be using the function that is remove. So remove will basically remove the item itself. For example, 56. So 56 is there, it is present in the list. So in that case, it will remove the item 56. So you can see the output, right? So we had 12, 34, 56, 78, and you can see 78 has been removed from the item, right? So this is how we can remove the item. And if there is something that is 77 which does not exist, in that case the Python will give you an error because that item does not exist. So you need to be careful for this. Okay, so that is how you can use the remove function. And then we have so simple, the clear function. It's very simple. It will absolutely clear all the items from the list. It does not delete means it deletes all the items from the list, and what you will get is an empty list. Okay, so if you use the clear function, and this is what you will get is the empty list. So clear basically will delete all the items from the list. And then we have the function that is the count function. Now count function basically counts the number of repetitions for a particular item. So if I have something like 34, so you can see 34 is over here and over here too. So what we will get, this will actually return a number. This will return a number that is I. So it will return the count. So we can see the output for this. Okay, we are just printing the list itself. Okay, I need to replace this with I, and now you can see the output. Okay, 2. Why 2? Because there are two places at where 34 we are repeating 34, right? And so if there is something like 56, so if 56 is repeating only for once, so in that case it will give the value as 1. But what if there is the number that does not exist, like the item 77? So let us see what it returns. In that case, it should return that is 0. So this number, this item does not exist. So if you want to see, if you want to check whether the item exists or not, so you can use this count function. Okay, so if it returns 0, it means that the item does not exist in the list. If it returns 1, then it is just one time that it is present in the list. Okay, and if it returns more than 1, so that item is present in the list at multiple places, right? So that is how you can use the count function. And then we have a last, that is a reverse function, which absolutely will reverse the entire list. Okay, so it just doesn't return anything as such. Okay, it does not return anything. Okay, I've just replaced this I to L. It will simply reverse your list. So you can see we had 34, then 78, 56, 34 and 12. You can see over here the entire list got reversed, right? So that's it for today. This is how you can use your functions. And today we have learned about the palindrome program, how to use with the help of string slicing and list slicing. So you can practice it, and then see you in the next video. Okay, bye for now. So if you have liked my video, do subscribe to my channel. There is a subscribe button in front of you. Click it right away. And after that, click on the bell icon so that you can get the regular notifications of my videos. Bye for now.